Hi, this is Harold Ree of the Paw Print Animal Rescue Podcast. After today's episode, we kick off Greyhound Week. 4 consecutive episodes all about greyhounds. So if you love greyhounds, maybe you're a little crazy about greyhounds, you won't want to miss the next few episodes. Thanks, everyone. On to the show.
My name is Diane Roth, and if I could be any animal, it would be a beaver, because they're the only animal that can actually manipulate and change their environment.
This is Paw Print, an animal rescue community, episode 22. I'm Harold Ree.
And I'm Nancy Ree.
Today's guest is the incredible Diane Roth.
Diane is what we call a super foster, willing to lend a helping hand whenever we're in a crisis situation.
You're going to learn some great things from Diane Roth, including her own thoughts on what they call single source dog food. If you love your dog and you want to find the best made dog food, single source might be the way to go for you. If you want to learn more about today's episode and see a cute picture of Diane holding Piglet, go to our show notes at thisispawprint.com/22. That's the number 22.
I'm a single mother of 2 teenage girls, 19 and 16, and I own a swimming pool maintenance company with my ex-husband. Which
I guess we can talk about that later.
Yeah, which people find very odd, but it works. You know, we found a way to be friends and get along and raise children and run a business together still. So,
what's the name of your swimming pool company?
Carefree Pool and Spa.
Okay.
And we're from Orinda to San Ramon.
Gotcha. And what kind of services do you offer in general?
Pool maintenance and repairs. So we come every week, test the chemicals, add anything that's needed, clean them, replace pumps, repair them, filters, and that kind of thing. I spend a lot of time with my kids, dogs. I have 4 of my own, and then I do enjoy fostering. So I enjoy working with the dogs, watching them progress and become adoptable dogs that people will want in their homes. And then I also bartend part-time for a second job because I don't have enough to do.
Wow.
I like to go hiking. Hiking is one of my favorite things, and that's what I take my dogs out to do a lot.
Okay. Okay.
And then my family.
Any animal stories that you like to share, whether it's your own animals or animals you've fostered, kind of lifted your spirits?
Oh, they lift my spirits every day. You know, when you come home, when you have a really bad day, there are so many days that I just want to get home to my dog, because I know that when I walk in the door, no one will be happier to see me. The tail will be wagging. They'll be jumping all over the place. And all they care about is that I'm home. I didn't have to bring anything. I can be in a bad mood. It doesn't matter. They're just like, you're here. You came back.
Any particular dog, though, that you have a bond with or have had a bond with?
Oh, my Chihuahua. My Chihuahua Piglet is my biggest bond. That's the one I will get the paw print tattooed. She's been with me I lost both my parents and a divorce, and she was my dog by my side the entire time.
You had Piglet before the divorce and before your parents passed away.
Yeah,
so how did Piglet come into your life?
I got Piglet from my ex-husband. We had went to a pet store, and she was in the little cage, and she was a little white 1 pound 8 ounce Chihuahua with little floppy ears, and she's at the window, you know, just scratching. So I held her. And when we left that night, he's like, do you want her? And I'm like, no, we don't need another dog. We don't need another dog. And he's like, but you really want her? I'm like, yeah, but you know, that's an expensive dog and we just don't need one. And so I kind of forgot about it. We went on with our evening, and the next morning I woke up and he was gone. I was like, he went to work early today. I didn't think much about it. Got the kids up, was getting them ready for school, and then he comes walking from the garage. And I was like, I'm like, you started your day early. He goes, yeah, I had something to do. I was like, oh, okay. Not thinking much of it. And he unzips his jacket and the little head pops out of his jacket. And I was like, oh. And he goes, she's yours. I was like, really? And he's like, yeah, on one condition. I was like, okay, what? He says, you name her Piglet. I'm like, done.
Wow.
And so I got Piglet. And then about 24 hours later, I had this light bulb go on in my head that I just got a Chihuahua. And those are those barky, yappy, mean dogs. What did I get myself into? So I went out and bought every book I could find on Chihuahuas and realized that, oh no, they're all that way because of the way they've been raised. And so I followed all the instructions in the book, making sure she was socialized. I took her everywhere. I let people hold her. And she is one of the best behaved Chihuahuas that I have seen, that people ask me, what kind of dog is she? And I'm like, right. Chihuahua. And people are like, she can't be a Chihuahua. I'm like, no, she's a Chihuahua.
That's great.
So yeah, that's kind of my dog.
One of the things that impressed me about you is that, I mean, there are many, many different kinds of foster parents for dogs. some people basically just provide a roof over the animal's head. And then there are others who do everything they can to make the dog as adoptable as possible.
Right.
And obviously this all depends on how much time you're willing to spend to do all this. And you strike me as somebody who does a lot. I know, just talking about what kind of food you give your pets. Like, I feel like such a horrible person.
Wait a minute. What's the story about what kind of food do you give your pet?
She does so much research.
It really started when I got Piglet, because she was so tiny, and then they started having the contaminated dog foods.
No
Piglet will
kidding.
be 10 years old in January,
Okay.
and they had a dog food scare that dogs were getting sick, and it was a contamination in the plant. And I had this panic that she is so small that it wouldn't take much in order to make her sick. I could just feed her a couple kibbles, and then at 2 pounds, she'll die. That was my thinking. It's probably not accurate, but that was my thinking. So I started researching food, and I looked to go to a raw diet, and I started doing the research on that because then I could control everything. And then I realized that is just way too much work. God bless people who do that. So then I started looking for the best possible kibble that I could get. And so that's where my adventures in figuring out that not all dog food is equal, that all the fillers in it are bad, and that a lot of dog foods, while they seem like they come from different manufacturers, all manufactured in the same plant, and that's how you end up with all the cross-contamination across.
Oh, so even
the
though they're all
foods.
different brands at the dog food store,
Correct.
they could all be made in the same place?
Correct. So I decided to go to single source vendors where the food is manufactured privately by that company.
How would folks find single source?
I started at a small boutique pet food store because they tend to be very educated on the foods that they're selling. God bless the internet, because there's more information than you could possibly need out there. And so that's how I kind of did my research, was reading online and then talking to the people who actually bought the pet food from the pet food manufacturers.
Wow.
So I absolutely love Origin, and my dogs absolutely love Origin, which is a Canadian food company. And they actually either grow or raise a lot of the livestock for their food. And then when they do outsource it, the food is processed immediately. So it's not just sitting in storage waiting to be processed. It comes in, it's processed, and then all of the bags are vacuum packed. So they get all of the air out of the bags to keep the
prevent
food
the
fresh
oxidation,
longer.
right? Okay.
So
Okay. Without trying to be a
Right.
commercial, I mean, do you find them at boutique stores or are they at big box pet food?
the only big box that has it now is Pet Food Express. Companies are not big enough for, say, Petco and PetSmart. They couldn't possibly supply them enough food.
Oh, I see.
So you probably will never see them there.
Okay.
Pet Food Express actually had to do an agreement with them that they couldn't do their buy 3, get the 4th one free with their foods, because they didn't want to undercut the small boutique pet stores that sell their food.
Gotcha. Okay.
So yeah, you'll find it small boutique and then Pet Food Express.
Any other brands that you've had good experiences?
From is another one my dogs really like. And I've tried Merrick, and they kind of like Merrick, but they not as much taste-wise.
Okay.
So
So
Okay.
you have 4 of your own dogs.
Yes.
So you obviously have the Chihuahua Piglet. Then you
Yes.
have a Rottweiler.
I have a Rottweiler Phoenix.
Now, was that a
She's-
rescue or how?
No, she's another gift from my ex-husband.
So he didn't take any dogs? Was it part of the settlement?
Well, no, actually, he didn't. He left me with all the dogs because, well, at the time we had another Rottweiler. His name was Claus, because it was 8 years ago, and he left the Rottweiler because for protection, so that me and the girls would have someone, to help guard the home while we were there. And then we had Piglet. The other dogs have been added since then. Claus passed away, and then we had another Rottweiler, Chaos, who had got sick, and so we lost him.
How long have you been fostering?
3-4 years now.
Okay. About how long
Yeah.
have you been?
Yeah. I mean, have you been able to keep count or?
No, I haven't even tried to keep count, because some of them were only a couple days.
Yeah.
I would watch. They'd pull them from the shelter, and then I would keep them until the transportation was ready to go to Oregon. So that was my first. So the longest those ever stayed were a week.
Yeah, but you still helped out. I mean, they
Yeah.
were part of the
Yeah.
part of their care. So
No, and it was fun. I mean, I actually like this fostering better because I kind of get to keep them longer.
Oh, you actually like that? Okay.
Well, I do a little bit because you can see the change, you know, and some of them, like Roscoe, he had no manners when I got him. And he wasn't housebroken when I got him.
Yeah.
You know, the first thing he did when he walked in the house was he peed on my floor. And I was like,
Great.
oh, dude. And then I was going to get paper towel to clean that up. He went in the kitchen and he pooped. And I'm just like can we get to the backyard?
right.
So, you know, we potty trained him. I put him in the kennel. You know, he did pretty good in the kennel to begin with. You know, he cried a little bit, but he adapted to the kennel really quick. So he may have been in one before, or he just adapts really easy. But it was nice to watch his progression from learning, from being all over the place with absolutely no manners to gaining manners.
So, like, if you have your own dogs, it's kind of challenging. So how do you, like, work it out with your own dogs and having the foster dogs in and out of the house?
I just kind of integrate them all together. And the one thing I have found with dogs is if you've already trained yours, they will help you train the others because it's a monkey see, monkey do thing. And I've actually, with my dogs too, when I know one is getting older and getting close to passing, I will get a new puppy because the old dog will help me train it because they'll kind of follow suit with what the older dog does. So that's kind of in my house. It's like my dogs know to sit before they eat. You know, you sit, you wait for the food to get put down. And other dogs don't know that. But then when they see everybody else doing it, they seem to catch on faster. You know, you still have to go through the motions and make them sit down and let them know to wait. But they seem to grasp the concept faster than when they're by themselves. At least that's my opinion on it. It's,
Right.
You know,
Okay.
and raising my own dogs and trying to teach them versus teaching a dog when there's another one in the house.
That's right. That's right.
It's like kids, you know, kids will always do what the older sibling does. And the second one always walks faster and crawls faster because they want to keep up with the older
There
sibling.
you go. Speaking of kids, how have your two, you said 2 daughters?
2 daughters.
Yeah, so how have your 2 daughters been either involved or at least observing you?
They love fostering. When Chrissy asked me if I would foster again, I, of course, made sure it was okay with my girls, you know, because it creates chaos in the house.
Yeah.
And I do need help, you know, like I want help letting dogs out and feeding them and what have you. If I can't be there, then they need to help me out. And they were super excited. They're like, yes, we get to foster again. And so then they were bugging me like, when are we getting our dog? When are we getting our dog? And when we were at the shelter yesterday, it was because Roscoe got adopted on Friday. And my youngest daughter was like, well, when do we get another dog? And I'm like, he just got adopted.
What would you say are the keys to successful fostering in your experience?
Consistency. That is the biggest thing. In my eyes, dogs are like children that never grow up. They need consistent discipline and love, you know. So it's as long as you're always doing the same thing day after day, they catch on. They know
Gotcha.
what's coming and they seem to be better behaved. Like I know when I get up in the morning, the first thing I do is I go outside and go to the bathroom. And then I have breakfast. And so if you get them into a routine, they seem to function a little bit better. It's like kids in school. If you keep them in a routine, your morning becomes effortless. And the same thing with dogs. If you keep them in their routine, everything just kind of happens. So, and there's always the disruption the first few days, you know, the new dogs come that they're learning, and I kennel train them all. So sometimes the first night is really rough if they've never been kennel trained.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, if you kind of just stick to your guns, then they'll like go, oh, okay. So you do have to be the alpha. That is the biggest thing. You can't let the dogs run you. You have to run the dog.
Where'd you grow up? How was your childhood?
My childhood was fantastic. We were poor, but I had no idea until I was probably about 16. Did I have a concept that we were actually poor when I went to high school?
So you grew up in California?
Yeah, I
Northern
grew up in
California?
San Pablo, actually.
Okay.
My parents are originally from Chicago. My dad got transferred here with Canada Dry, and that's what brought us out here. But I was
Okay.
born and raised here.
What'd your dad do for Canada Dry?
He was a manager. And then when they first came out with Tab Cola, which is really dating me, is when they moved him out here. And then the first release of Tab Cola failed. And then that's when he lost his job, when Tab Cola failed. And then Tab Cola came back many years later and was a success.
Sure.
But the first release was a failure because the American people weren't ready for diet products yet. And then he went to PG&E, and then he became a food and drug inspector for the state of California.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So,
and where's he now? You said he passed away.
He passed away.
Right?
Him and my mom both passed away 6 years ago.
So did you always have pets growing up?
Yes. Yes. We always had a dog. We had a bunny. And then when I was 2, my parents bought a house up on the hill above Rayleigh's Princeton Plaza in San Pablo. And we were in county property. So I got a horse. We had dogs and cats and chickens and rabbits.
So is that when you started bringing home all the stray animals you saw?
Pretty much. It was kind of inbred. So my mom and dad divorced when I was 5. And my mom had rode horses professionally when she was in high school and in her early 20s.
Wow.
So she went, when they divorced, so that she could still be around for us kids, she went back into horses. And so she was breaking horses, training them, and giving riding lessons. So at 5, I literally grew up in a barn because I went to the barn with her. If I wasn't in school, I went to the barn with my mom. I got into doing pools with my husband when I had to fire one of the kids who was working for him because things just weren't working out. And so my husband came home. I was like, I let so-and-so go today. And he's like, why did you do that? And I'm like, because we were losing customers. And he's like, but I can't do the job. And I was like, well, I'm only working part-time. I guess I'll be your new pool boy.
Right.
So teach me. And I've been doing it for 10, 11 years now.
No kidding.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Did your kids always like dogs naturally?
Yes, my kids are very much like me. They love animals.
Yeah.
My oldest, who's terribly allergic to cats, asks for a cat probably at least 4 times a year. Can we get a cat? Can we get a cat? I'm like, you're allergic to the cat.
Right.
I can take allergy medicine. I'm like, you cannot live your life on allergy medicine.
Yeah.
So she doesn't, but she really wants one. So, and then my youngest volunteers over at Lindsay Wildlife.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool.
Okay.
Well, to kind of finish up this story with Piglet, so you said Piglet came was in your life during a pretty crucial time, divorce and the deaths of both of your parents. Can you talk a little bit about the deaths of your parents and how you were able to recover?
That was a hard one. So it really was kind of a terrible train of events. My husband and I separated, and then 6 months later, my mom was diagnosed with terminal cancer.
Wow.
And then my mom was going through the treatment, though, to extend her life so she could get her orders in her affairs in order. And so we were doing the chemo and all the radiation treatment for that. And while that was happening, my dad became really ill from an infection that never healed. So my mom's in chemo and in and out of the hospital. My dad was in and out of ICU. And then my mom died on February 27th. And then 3 weeks later, right at the day after my mom's memorial service, my dad passed away.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, Piglet was pretty much my, for probably a good 6 months, she was my security. She went everywhere with me. She never left my side for anything. It was a really dark time. I couldn't stop crying.
Yeah.
And eventually having her by my side is really kind of what helped me through that. She just, and when I'm sick still to this day, she won't leave my side. She's right there. She'll get up to go eat and go to the bathroom, and then she comes back. So
yeah.
So,
well, thanks for sharing. I know that's very personal. So thanks for sharing.
You're welcome.
It sounds like she really can sense your moods, right?
Yes.
Piglet is sort of very in tune with you.
Yes.
Do you find that your other dogs have that sort of gift, or?
Well, it's funny because Butter, which is my youngest daughter's dog, he does with her. Like from the moment they met, they had this. He liked her. There was something about her that he wanted to be around her because he really is not a very happy dog in general. He's wound very tightly. They think he was severely abused. He was left for dead. He's only 15 pounds now, but he had to gain 5 pounds before he could even go up for adoption.
Wow.
And he was only 12 pounds when we got him.
Wow.
So it'll tell you something about how emaciated he was. He hates men. And if a man walks in the room, he freaks out. He becomes very aggressive. But there's something about her, like if she's sad, he won't leave her side. He's very in tune with her and nobody else. Like he likes me. And he goes hiking with me, and he's a very happy dog when we're out hiking, because he's never the dog that can go to a park and be around a lot of people, because it's way too much stress for him. But there's something about his connection with my daughter that is just, it's very real. And he will sit, when she leaves, he'll sit and wait for her to come home. And if she goes on a trip and she's gone too long, you can see him kind of mopey. And then he comes back to life when she comes home. So, and then our other one, Lucy, we haven't had her long enough. My oldest went and rescued her from the shelter about, I want to say 4 months ago. And she's actually becoming more attached to me now.
So your daughter,
She really wanted a cat. She wanted her own pet. I'm like, you can't have a
Is
cat.
this the daughter that's allergic?
Yes, yes.
Oh, and she still went to get a cat.
She still wanted a cat.
She's headstrong.
She wants a cat.
She knows what she wants.
And so I was like, you can't have a cat. And she's like, but I want my own animal. You have Piglet. You have Phoenix.
Yeah.
You know, Melissa has Butter.
Yeah.
So I let her go adopt. I'm like, you can get a small dog. No bigger than 10 pounds. But if you can find a small dog. And Lucy is another mental case. She was surrendered because she's aggressive. And she is aggressive to some extent, but not terribly so. And she's so small that, you know, she has gone to bite me a couple times, but she doesn't break the skin.
Yeah.
So she's another one of those that may or may not have ever made it out of the shelter.
Yeah. Is that why your daughter chose Lucy?
Yeah, there was just something about the way, you know, she has this very weird look about her. She's not very endearing. She's not that dog that just oozes emotion. And so that's kind of why she fell for it. She's like, she just looked like she needed a home. So she took her, and then we realized that, she's a little bit aggressive. She's getting better. But every now and then, if you handle her in the wrong way, she'll, you know, get upset, you know, because she doesn't like to be picked up a certain way.
Yeah.
But other than that, she's a good dog.
Yeah.
We're just...
Gotcha.
My kids aren't
motley crew.
That's right. That's right. What would you say if someone said to you, boy, Diane, you've totally inspired me. I want to get more involved in animal rescue or animal fostering. What kind of advice would you give folks?
Take it slow. You know, don't, you know, while you want to jump in full bore, don't burn yourself out on it. Learn your boundaries, you know, learn what you can handle. And if you don't know something or you're uncomfortable, don't be afraid to ask for help. Because I think that's one of the things people get. They don't want to have to ask for help. They think they can do it. And I've even had people like, oh, how can you do it? You know, how do you know all these things? I'm like, because I ask for help. If I don't know how to do something, I go find someone who does. And I think a lot of people just get a little overwhelmed because it is so much, and they don't stop and ask for help. So
take it slow. If you want to tell a little bit about your business, I mean, how do folks find your business, whether it's online, social media, phone number?
Most of ours is actually word of mouth.
Okay.
We don't do a lot of advertising anymore. We did in the beginning. But now I would say most of our growth comes from, you know, people like, hey, your pool looks great. Who does it? Or, you know, other customers like, you should really call my pool company. They do a great job. And that's how we get most of it now.
And once again, what's the name of your business?
It's Carefree Pool and Spa.
Okay.
And we're out of El
Pool.
Sobrante.
Okay. El Sobrante?
Yes.
Okay.
We want to grow, but we also want to do it
Okay.
in a fashion that we can maintain our level of customer service with our growth.
Okay. Well, maybe we'll share a link on our website,
Okay,
so kind of so in case people want to look you up in the area. So
Yeah, that would be great.
If you had $10,000, or if you had a magic wand to wave to change one thing about the state of animal rescue, or just anything about animal rescue, if you could do something about it, just one thing, what would that be?
For me, it would be educate the public. Educate the public that animals are animals. I think a lot of people go into it expecting to have that instant bond. Animals don't bond the same way people do. Well, we see an animal and we have an immediate attachment to them. We want to get to know them and include them in our lives. And animals build their bond more over loyalty and time. You become part of their pack and their family. They don't have that instant bond. While they may greet you with licks and excitement, you aren't necessarily theirs yet. It takes time for that to build. And then also just educating people on how important it is to spay and neuter.
that's right.
Yeah.
And to get that out there maybe more programs to first free spay and neuter or low cost spay and neuter to make it more accessible for people.
That's right.
And especially for homeless. I think there's a lot of homeless people out there who really need their animals but don't have a way to care for them. So I think clinics, if Animal Rescue could do more clinics to help the homeless people, because sometimes it's their only companion is their dog or their cat.
That's right.
And if we could help extend the life of their pet, I think it would be better for them and make those resources available.
We want to say thank you to Diane Roth for sharing her story. If you live in Northern California and want to look up her business, Carefree Pool and Spa, as well as get some links to those companies that create single-source dog food, go to our show notes at thisispawprint.com/22. If you want to learn more about me and Nancy, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. Look for This Is Paw Print, one word. You can also look me up on Facebook, Harold Ree. I promise that all my vaccinations are up to date. If you want to listen to more episodes of Paw Print, you can find us on iTunes, SoundCloud, or Stitcher, along with Podcast Addict on Android phones. We want to say thank you to all of you, our listeners out there, for sharing your story. And don't forget, next episode we kick off Greyhound Week. 4 episodes dedicated to greyhounds. Remember that you share a positive message of love and peace by saving an animal. Have a great day, everyone, and see you next time on Paw Print.
Is a production of EVER Education.
You can't handle the truth.
Woohoo!